Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Mariou Mandl, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, shoot.
Come on.
Celebrate. Come on now. Clap those hands. Come on.
There it is.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, hey,
Do the Dougie. Do the Dougie.
Get it.
Do
Get
the
it.
twerk.
Get it.
Do the twerk.
There's so much to celebrate
Yo,
about.
there's so much to celebrate about. First of all, this is the last episode of Are You the One? We've been here for 10 weeks straight.
And this is the first time all 4 of us are here.
Wow!
That is another reason to celebrate.
That is another reason to celebrate.
Yes.
That's awesome. And they, let's just get it out the bag. They won $1 million. Oh, shoot! Like, celebrate, turn up, all the way up.
Yes.
Like, I'm excited for them. I'm excited for them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Lem Gonsalves. Right next to me is the incomparable Mariou Mandl. What's up?
Hey, guys.
And of course, right there is Kevin John Peters, all day, every day.
And every night.
Oh, boy.
And flanking him is Miss One and Only Kendra Sommers. Ow!
Hey.
Oh, what time summer celebrate. All right, so let's get cracking. Okay, so we already know they got the $1 million. I'm very happy for that. I was concerned, very worried, because this is the last one. Mm-hmm. And anything could happen, and especially when Leighton pulled that move, which we'll get into in a second, I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So let's go into it. We have basically, I want to get right to the challenge. And this particular challenge was very interesting because it was like, of course, this is the challenge for the guys, that they had to go out for their women, and they had to build a raft. Okay, they had all these tools there, what have you, and they had to build a raft, and they had to go to the woman and pick the woman that they felt that they connected with to go on the date, and then whoever was first back with that woman, then they got to go on the date, and then they were the winner. So of course they did the top 3 as they always do, and it started off with this battle of wheels between Mr. Leighton and Mr. Dario. So they've been going at it forever. I feel like the last 3 weeks, last 3 episodes concerning Miss Ashley. Even though Leighton has kind of been doing his thing with a whole bunch of people, with Jess included a lot, but he really thinks he's with Ashley. And then Dario is like, he feels like he's supposed to be with Ashley. So what do you guys think of this whole coming together? Because I feel like this is the end. Of course, it's narrowed down because now you know that there's only a few people that could be your match now. Than before at the beginning, it was that it was a lot more. What do you think is going on with them two specifically?
With which 2 specifically?
Which with who we're talking about? I'm talking about Leighton and Dario.
Leighton and Dario going for Ashley.
Yes,
yes. So that was, out of all of the matchups that were happening through this entire episode, that was the only one that concerned me.
Right.
Because if Ashley was like, oh, I'll go with Leighton, I was like, no, because I already had my picks, and I was like, that's not the way to go. That's not the way.
Right.
But it worked out.
I was really disappointed. I thought, here they are, they're on, I was expecting, since both of them are on rafts, one of them was going to push the other person off with a paddle or something. And when that didn't happen, I was a little let down.
So you wanted to see a little bit of
you
drama.
wanted to see some action.
Yeah, why not?
Well, can I say, I thought it was hilarious when Leighton's row broke, or whatever, the paddle, when it snapped in two.
Yes.
And he still was on it too, but I thought that was pretty hilarious. I was waiting for him to, to try to sabotage Dario's raft as well.
He should have.
That would have been funny.
That would have been great.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I thought it was interesting because Leighton, he's definitely asserted himself as the alpha male in the house. I feel like he thinks he is the man. Like no one is comparing to him. So I feel like even though he kind of has, he's had several women that have been after him, Ellie, Jessica. I mean, there's been a few, Jenny, and then he feels like because there's someone after Ashley, like if no one was checking for Ashley, he wouldn't even be tripping.
No.
But because he feels like, okay, well I haven't got with Ashley yet, and Dario wants, well let me just battle for Ashley. And I feel like that's kind of a douche move to do that when Dario really feels like that's his match. I felt like he should have just, fell back.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's in true Leighton style.
Yeah, well, and interesting for me, at the beginning I had a completely different view of him than I did at the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really interesting looking back on like the pilot when he was like, "Oh, I'm just a Southern gentleman."
Right.
I don't think a Southern gentleman plays like that.
Yeah.
Well, have you met all Southern gentlemen? I'm just saying.
I have not, but I'm just saying. Observation.
Observation. So when it came down to it, Dario did get Ashley, which I was very happy because I was rooting for Dario. Like all the time. So he did get Ashley. So they ended up winning. And then it ended up being Leighton and Tyler. So he ended up picking up Tyler. And then it was Anthony and Alex. And so I want to shoot over to your girl, Ellie, who I feel like is probably maybe aside from Tyler, female Tyler Abram, I think she's had the worst end of the stick because I feel like every person that she has liked or wanted to connect with, they didn't want to be with her.
But you know, the unfortunate thing is sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And that's a reflection of the true world. How many of us have liked people and they haven't liked us back, and that's happened over and over again. So, I mean, I understand where Ellie, but the thing is also, is I think that added a lot to her character, because if she had fell in love from the third week or fourth week, I don't think we would have been able to see all those different sides of Ellie, that crazy side, that upset side, that antagonizing side that we saw tonight.
Been stuck on
she
whatever person.
Yeah, she would have been stuck, but this kept her fresh. It kept her constantly making those funny, irreverent comments that I love so dearly. And I'm glad it kind of didn't work out, because it kept, well, it did obviously at the end, but up until that point that, it kept falling through for her, because it kept her on the toes, and it kept her more interesting.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, if it would have been somebody who doesn't have quite as colorful of a personality, it would have been really you would have really felt bad for them. But because it's Ellie, she makes the best of the situation, and she just, she's going out with her head high, and I think but I still felt bad for her though.
Like at the end of the day, yeah, I understand she has the colorful personality, but I feel like even with that, I think with Ellie, this is my take on it. I think with Ellie, I think this is a reflection of what happens with her in real life. I feel like these guys, she is fun, she's cute, and I think they end up getting that brother-sister vibe or best friend vibe for her. She gets thrown in the friend zone so fiercely, and then she has nowhere else to go, and then she has to play it off.
Well, that's the one time I really felt her in what she was saying when she was talking to, I believe it was Anthony in the kitchen.
Right.
Or was it Anthony? And they were talking about, and he was like, look, I just see you as I have friends like you. I see you as a sister, and I think one of the things that she did say, and she's like, you don't know how I would be in a relationship unless you give me that chance. And I thought that was true, because you're so quick to friend zone that person, you don't realize maybe in a relationship she is outstanding, wonderful, she still has a personality, but you may be able to see that as well. But I did feel bad for her that no one really gave her that chance because she's so cool, like a homie.
Well, it's that big picture that everyone's so caught on superficial stuff. They don't even take the time to really get in there and see how cool of a personality. Well,
see, I kind of disagree. I don't think it was as superficial with Ellie, because I think we see her personality. I mean, she's very transparent. So, that to me was like, I think because her personality was maybe too overbearing or, overwhelming, or just the simple fact that her personality was just too damn like a dude, that may have discouraged other dudes from romantically pursuing her. But at the end of the day, Ellie, you're still my hero. I still love you, and, you can.
Kevin is your biggest fan, Ellie. Just saying.
I am.
Yeah.
We may not be a match, but we can go hard. All
right. So they actually go on their date, and they go to this kind of cool observatory, which is kind of world famous. I guess tourists are not able to go, which I thought was interesting. What they showed for me, I was like, it looks like a steel bridge. Like, it didn't really do it for me. Like, of all the stuff that they've been able to do.
You see how high it was, though?
Yeah, it was high. It was high.
That was high,
but
man.
I think you would have to be high to enjoy it. Like, I'm just saying, like, it just seemed like, basically, because of everything else they've done. This is beautiful Puerto Rico. There's, they've had, like, with the waves, and they have the boat rides, and they've had this and that. And then it's like, okay, for your last and final challenge, you get to go up high in a steel bridge.
But it was in the James Bond movies.
Okay.
So
was James Bond there?
Well, I don't know. It was in the movie.
No,
so
I don't care.
Cool.
And that might have been something that only translated in person.
Right.
Like on camera, it might not have.
And
made
that's
sense.
true. It's true. It could have been cool. I just see. I mean, I'm looking at it. Of course, this is TV. They edit, things of that nature.
It looked pretty cool.
It looked like it could have been cool, but it didn't look like it was amazing. And it didn't look like, and of course, they're showing us them talking, so they didn't really show us like the activities they did, if that's what they did, because they wanted to get them conversing and kind of getting that point of view, which we need to know as an audience. So I don't know. I'm just saying, on the meter of 1 to 10, maybe a 4, just in comparison with where they're at. That's all I'm saying. Back of the house, I think everybody was fixated on Dario and Ashley. I think that was like, I knew without a shadow of a doubt they were going to throw in. They had the biggest connection of all the couples that were out there, and they were really liking each other. And I think honestly, Ashley really cared for Dario more than he cared for Taylor, or I'm sorry, for Leighton, because I feel like he really wanted it more. I feel like Leighton was kind of cool with, if I get Ashley, okay. If not, okay. Like he was, where Dario, he was fixated. He was like, this is who I want. I want you. And I think it was up to her to kind of be like, okay, I will, pick you. But I think all along she really wanted. What do you think?
He's asking you.
I'm pointing to either of you. Either of you. I'm just pointing in that direction. You pick.
Other side of the table.
Ladies first.
I agree with you. I think that Leighton's kind of a cornflake. It seems like he likes
cornflake.
Wow.
He's flaky.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get the okay.
Yeah.
Every episode he seems to be pursuing something new, something exciting.
Right.
So I was definitely Team Dario, which is funny because I've been so pro Leighton this whole season.
Oh, we know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now I'm happy.
You're about Dario.
Yeah, I was happy I got it.
Okay.
But I mean, before we tear Leighton apart, I mean, come on. I mean, look at the situation that he's in, and look, I know you say that his character transitioned or changed for the worse throughout the duration of the show, but also look at the environment that he's in. Yes, there's a lot of women in there. Yes, there's other dudes in there. Yes, anybody, the nicest of nice people can be thrown in a situation like that, and there are certain things or negatives about your character that will be magnified, or things that may inspire negatives to come out. So I don't necessarily look at him as this douche a-hole kind of person that some of us are making him out to be.
Excuse me, I'm not making him out to be that.
No, I think he has those tendencies. I'm just saying based on how he's acted, and everybody's in the same situation. I feel like the way he's acted and the way other guys have acted is a different situation. I think the way he's carried himself, he's gotten into many arguments with different guys.
I hear you.
Concerning issues that didn't have anything to do with him. He was just kind of involved just because he wanted to insert himself as the dominant person.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. Speaking of Daria, Ashley, they were thrown into the truth booth, and lo and behold, they were a perfect match.
Yes.
Which I was very glad, because I'm like, okay, now they got 5 matches. This should be a breeze. You should definitely get these other 5. Get it cracking. And then they had this kind of thing with Christina, and kind of highlighting her because she is the 11th girl. Of course, at the beginning, all the girls were hating because they're like, "Oh, you trying to take my spot, girl? What?" And so she kind of was, I think overall she kind of was cool with all the girls, and I think they all kind of vibed with her. And at that point, like, they didn't want to see her go. So when it was like, they did the pair up, they were like, no, I don't want her to go. I think she should stay, and da. And of course, she wasn't a match, so everybody was excited. So I like that fact. I really became Team Christine at that point, because I felt like earlier I was like, I don't know, she's kind of playing this and that, and I don't think she knows what she wants, but I could see how, it would be hard to be in that situation. And then they kind of had this pool thing where they kind of had this kumbaya moment. I don't know if that was, what they wanted to do, or if the producer was like, hey, y'all should hold hands and jump in the pool and make it look good. So I'm just saying. But I think it was a moment where they were reflecting. They've been there for a long time, almost 3 months, there with each other, day in, day out. You see these people. And I think it's anytime you do a social experiment like that, like you've seen MTV does The Real World, where you're like literally together for months at a time, it's like you end up bonding with these people, even though it could be like, I don't like you, but you're my friend and I still love you, and even though you snore or whatever, you develop that bond. I mean, it's just inevitable as long as you keep yourself open to the process. And then Dario and Leighton made up, which I thought was interesting. So I didn't see that coming. I think, and it looked like Leighton kind of, pushed it, and he was the one that kind of initiated it. So I appreciated him. He took the doucheness off a little bit, took douche coat off, put it in the closet.
I'm just saying. The dry cleaners.
Put it in the dry cleaners. All right, so we get to the matchup ceremony, and I'm really excited because we have somebody calling in, special guest. I'm not going to say who it is yet until he arrives on the phone. But in the matchup ceremony, the ladies are choosing at this point. And so with Christina being the 11th girl, it's pinned up that, of course, she's going to have last choice. Now, before they kind of all talked about this strategically, they said it made sense for Christina to not be chosen, basically, because since she is the 11th girl, if someone ends up picking her, it could throw it off and they could get 9 matches, and whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to stay with the program. Makes sense. There's a lot of money on the line. We go down the line. We have Brianna picking Brandon. Brandon kind of gives a little speech, which I like because he's good at those speeches. Alexandria and Anthony, which we found out that they hooked up a little bit. And your girl Ellie was not too happy about that.
Oh, she was ready to kill somebody.
She was not happy at all.
She was about to get real Ellie style on somebody real quick.
Yeah, she was not happy at all. Not happy at all. Jess picked Garland, which, no brainer. Tyler and Leighton. Can we talk real quick about your boy's attire? So he had
like a suit jacket with no shirt.
With no shirt on. Like,
what was going on?
What was that?
Own style.
What was that? Like, what style was that though?
It's fresh. That's what it was.
Really? Like,
yeah.
Fresh, like, because no laundry was fresh. No. So
right.
he was like going out.
Oh man, so many shirts is dirty. I'm gonna wear jacket with no shirt.
He's starting a trend. Like Tyler wears the beanies. He's not. He's doing the tux with no shirt.
So you think a lot of people are gonna start wearing tux with no shirts?
Yeah. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think so.
I'm gonna.
Other than Chippendale dancers in Vegas, I don't see it.
I don't think so, but more power to you. You can pull it off. So Ellie ends up picking Nathan, who she does like, but I think Nathan is kind of on the fence with her, and they kind of get into this argument, which it ended up being kind of cute because she's like mad at him, but not really. She's smiling the whole time. I really think I like her. She's endearing.
Yeah.
She's really
because at this point, it doesn't matter how they actually feel about each other.
It's all about getting that match, matching with the right person. And so then it comes to Christina and Leighton. And so, because Christina's last girl, she picks Leighton, which no brainer because we saw them kind of connecting or what have you. So knew that was happening. And then here's the twist, the huge entire twist. So of course, because Tyler is with Leighton, that is the sure thing. That's what they discussed. That's what they talked about. So Leighton now has to choose. We all know that the safe choice is to choose Tyler, have Christina out, and then do the matchup. What does he do? He chooses Christina.
Well, you saw it coming because they had that conversation in the hot tub.
I know, but listen, what I'm saying is, regardless, there's no more like, oh, I really like you, I really want to be with you. This is the last one.
Yeah.
This is for everything. And they're so close. They got 8 matches. They have to get these correct matches. And it's not just your money. I could see if it's like, okay, if we're not matched, we don't get money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But this is for everybody's money. And I feel like everybody panicked. Like they panicked. They went crazy. And I mean, how would you feel like if somebody had your money in their hand? You were supposed to do a certain thing and you decided not to, and you basically had an opportunity to almost cost everybody. What do you think?
I don't know. I have a question about the scenario. Yeah. Does this person who gets left out not get into the money pool?
Well, that's a good question, and we can find that out later.
Because then that's where the switch would confuse
Exactly. It makes sense. But I've been notified that we do have our special guest, Mr. Win All the Challenges, Mr. All Over the Place, Mr. Brandon Tindel. What's up, Brandon?
Dude, I am here. I have arrived to the AfterBuzz studio, and I do want to give a huge shout-out to you guys. I love what you do.
Word.
It's cool that we have fans. And one more shout-out to Kevin. I love that dude. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss. Sorry. I love Kevin.
Well, Brandon, you know what? That made my day. That really did. And I love you too, man. Keep representing. Keep doing what you do, and continue to hold it down, man.
Yeah,
you got a fan in your boy.
It's just cool. Like I've never seen a guy able to take both sides on things more than you have, and you do it great. So keep it up.
I don't know if I attribute that to just the brilliance of my mind or just the fact that I'm always indecisive. But at any rate, you know, I try to cover everything. So I'm glad you acknowledged that, Brandon. Really glad.
Oh, and I do want to hit on one more thing real quick. I heard you guys talking about Ellie earlier.
Yes.
And how people weren't giving her a chance.
Yes.
I will say for a fact, I was one of the guys in the house that wanted to give Ellie a chance, and she wanted to give me a chance too. I'll say it that way, so it sounds right. Like, I gave Ellie, like, me and Ellie sat together at a matchup because we were actually kind of connecting one week.
Okay.
But a lot, like, they don't show that on TV because it's not a part of my story. So.
Right, obviously. Interesting.
Wow, the things that get edited out.
Exactly.
You know?
They're exclusive.
Me and Ellie were legitimately talking for like a week.
Really? Wow. Interesting.
Man.
Brandon giving us the inside scoop.
I love it.
All right, so Brandon, I want to take you back to the beginning. Of course, you were really, really digging on Christina. Very tough. And I want to go back to that moment when, you know, you guys were vibing. Everybody thought, you know, you guys made a good match. And then, of course, you go into the truth booth and you find out that you're not a match. And you just really look devastated, both of you. Can you take me out to that moment? Like, how did that feel at that point?
I mean, okay, so what's happening is, like, we all get thrown into this mansion, and like, we are all on like the biggest highs of our lives. Like, we have all these cameras around. It's a feeling we've never felt before, and like, Christina and I just hit it off so well. Like, we were crazy about each other really quick, and when I saw that the screen was like a no match, it was torture because like, she really did feel like my best friend in the house, and I mean, it was quick. It was really quick, and things don't happen like that in real life. But, I mean, yeah, I was legitimately devastated, and I think she was too. I mean, it was a bad situation.
Yeah, and you really looked like it was just a hard way around. And I feel like, too, when it came back to, you know, you're back to the house, of course, you're forced to, or the way the game is played, you got to find your match at the end of the day. And so you know she's not your match, but it seemed like you kept going back to her. Was it a feeling like you just felt like, forget the game? Because I know that there was a couple of times you were like, F the game, I don't care about the game, I care about love, I care about how I feel about her. Did you really feel that? Was that out of frustration? Where were you looking at that?
The time frame when I was saying that was like around my feelings never changed for her. Like, they were always there. But as far as the gameplay for me, I was definitely selfish. Around week 6 or 7, I was down to very few possibilities. Week 7, I had 2 left. And I basically didn't need to play the game the same way as other people were playing it anymore. Like, I could be with Christina and still find out why 3 was my match. And another thing that's not shown is, like, me and Christina were always, like, trying to talk to other people. Just at the end of the day, we always went back to each other. And they show Christina's route doing that. They also show part of mine with Bree. Like, me and Bree definitely figured out why we were a match.
Makes sense.
Oh, well, hey, Brandon, Kendra here. I have a question for you. I know it's a process to get on one of these shows, and I know a lot of our viewers have been wondering, what was the biggest shocker to you about reality TV?
The biggest shocker about reality TV, I mean, I think it just amplifies everything. Like, your emotions get amplified by 10. So when you're at your happiest moments, you're like 10 times happier, and when you're at your saddest moments, you're 10 times more sad.
So
it's super amplified.
Is it a situation where, so when we see that on camera, it's not something that's played up? This is really what's going on with you at that moment. We're seeing like real life.
Because when you're outside in the real world, right? When you see your girlfriend with another guy or kissing another guy, what you do is you cut them off and you go play tennis and you go hang out with your friends and you go play football, and you go ice skating, or you watch TV. When you're in the Are You the One house, you don't have a TV. All you have is alcohol, food, and people to talk to. And if your people to talk to are doing something else now, you really don't have much else to do. And there's
no support system.
They're your support system. So, like, my support systems in in that house was Christina, 100%, always. Jasmine and Alex, and then Bree towards the end. Those were my people, and I didn't get along with like any of the guys. I mean,
yeah, it seemed like you had some major beef with them, a lot of them.
Yeah, and especially like watching last episode with Leighton, that rubbed me the wrong way very badly. Like, I didn't know he was saying that stuff. I hate how Leighton approaches things. Like, one thing Leighton always does is, like, he degrades people instead of, like, I think when you get a situation, like, when he was in the hot tub with Christina, maybe talk to her, like, about why you could be a match instead of degrading other people in the process.
Right.
And that's something that Leighton always does. So I wasn't happy with that.
Well, on to something that was happy and overwhelmingly joyful. At the end, there's 9 lights up. The anticipation is building. That 10th light lights up. Everyone goes bonkers. What was your reaction when the 10th light came up? And, you know, can you describe just the overall feeling on set when that happened?
Dude, I mean, you see it. We're going bonkers. I mean, we've all been pre-gaming. We basically knew we were going to win until Leighton picks Christina. And then that made it even more intense. So we won. I was stoked, gave my perfect match a hug, and then went running off to give every single person in my path, even the ones that I disliked, a hug, and then went to Christina and celebrated my $1 million with a girl who I was crazy about. It was one of the best moments of my entire life.
Now, speaking of that $1 million, I noticed you guys opt to split it up evenly. Do you have, I mean, first of all, I don't know if you've already gotten it, but what are your plans on spending that, or where to spend it? Or is Christina you gonna spend it all on her, or what's gonna happen here?
No, I mean, I'm going to have Christina spend all her money on me.
I like this guy.
Brandon.
Now I know why I like you so much.
So on the topic of the money, I was confused with, because I know the 11th girl that gets left out was supposed to be sent home if they were sent home earlier in the season. But at the end here, Tyler was celebrating just with and yeah, it's exciting, but does she get into the money pool as well?
Yeah, Tyler gets the money. How that worked was, okay, they just didn't reveal it early on. I have no idea why. I knew it was going to come up eventually. Basically, how it worked was the only way that a girl could not get money was basically the truth booth. So if you got booted from a truth booth with Christina as the double match, then you are out.
You're out.
You just get money.
Got it.
If we all win at the ceremony, we all get it. Which, I mean, I think it would have been 10 times cooler if somebody didn't get money.
So now
that's that sound.
Now, keeping that as it may, what you just said. Now, if Christina, because I know that there was talks about, or kind of like it looked like a plan everybody had agreed to, that Christina was going to be left out of the final matchup, so that way it would make sure that everybody that was matched up, you had the proper amount of tries. Now, if she was left out, and then let's say, because obviously Leighton had both Tyler and Christina as his match, if he picked Tyler and Christina was out, would she still have gotten money?
Yeah, Christina still would have gotten money in that case. So she would have been celebrating just as hard as everybody else.
Okay.
So then Leighton's choice was just Leighton's super selfish.
Yeah, it was a selfish choice of Leighton to do that then by picking her.
It didn't make any sense. I mean, Leighton, he could be Christina's rock all he wants, but 30 seconds later, after we won the $1 million, Christina came back to her diamond, so that's all that matters.
Whoa! Wow. Brandon, turn up, son. I love it.
And
I love it.
I also want to say, how cool would it have been if, this would have been the exact same situation if Christina would have picked me on the last matchup ceremony, and then we would have had no issue, because I could have just we had Leighton, the biggest idiot in the house, who actually picked something that didn't need to be picked.
Right. Well, right, because she could have picked anyone.
She could have picked me, and I could have just put her back up there, but I could have stood up on the stage. It would have been cool.
Wow, interesting. So he really did. Wow. I'm just thinking, like, if I was sitting in that seat and I see Leighton picking Christina just because he wants to, like to prove a point or whatever the case is. Like you said, he wants Bria's rockers, polders, whatever. So I'm just gonna be livid because of the anticipation. You're already not. I mean, you feel like you have it, but it still is a possibility. But it seems like it amplifies the level, that it could not be it. I mean, were you guys talking amongst yourselves? Was it a situation where you were like, we're gonna jump him if he does? Like, what was I know it was tense. Can you explain that with everybody in the back waiting?
Yeah, I mean, you can watch it back. A lot of people were freaking out, freaking out. Bree and I were just like kind of shocked. I think we were pretty calm up there because we both knew Christina very well, and like we thought that for sure it was like that it was Leighton as well. Right. So we weren't too angry with it, but a lot of other people, like definitely the people from the honeymoon suite, they were upset because they have no idea what's going on. Right. They literally are isolated and they have no idea. So the honeymooners were definitely like the most shocked. I mean, Curtis was tearing up. It was funny.
I mean, I think I would get emotional over that as well.
Right. That's like a lot of money on the line.
Clearly.
Yeah, that's a lot of money on the line.
So the people that were in the honeymoon suite, you only really saw them at matchup ceremonies?
That's it. Yeah. Yep.
Wow, so they're like just doing their own thing.
Exactly.
Totally.
So how do they know what's going on?
Yeah, well, you see how they find out because a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, when the host Ryan would say, okay, if there was someone that was matched up in the truth booth, he would let them out. It's like, go find your match. They would look very surprised, like they just found out that information then. Is that true? Like they would just find out if somebody was paired up or matched up at the matchup ceremony?
I guess I'm confused by the question.
Okay, so let's say you guys voted somebody into the truth booth and it was a perfect match. So when you guys would go to the matchup ceremony, when Ryan, the host, would say, okay, we're going to do the matchup, but before we do that, whoever was matched up, he would have them join each other. What I'm saying is
the perfect matches also knew nothing about that until that moment. So they always got legitimate reactions from those other perfect matches.
Got it. Okay.
Now, obviously, we know there's a reunion coming up. Have you guys shot the reunion already? Or if you have any exclusives you can give us?
I'm pretty sure we did it 2 weeks ago, like not last weekend, but the weekend before. I don't know if I could give you like an exclusive for that. I know it is. It's gonna be interesting for sure. I mean, you guys are gonna see everything that happened after the show, and I mean, we're all people in our 20s, and things definitely happen.
All right. Well, man, Brandon, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the show, man. Let us know, because I know you got tons and tons of fans, because you're like I said, the most challenge winner ever. So you got everybody out there. Tell them where they can find you, so they can keep up with what you're going on.
Basically, every social media thing that I am is Tindel10. It's TINDEL10. That is for everything. So add it and definitely hit me up. I will try my best to talk to you.
All right, man.
Good deal. Awesome.
Thanks a lot for coming on. We appreciate it.
And we'll look out for you. And we're excited about the reunion. We are going to have an after show for the reunion. So we're excited about what's going to happen and everything. So, man, thank you again for being part of the show. We appreciate you.
Dude, thank you guys. I had fun.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, dude.
Thank you.
Yo.
That's my dude right there. Brandon is my dude, man.
He gave you a shout out, man.
He did.
That was cool.
Yeah,
I meant to tell him whenever he comes into LA, man, we got to go out and get it popping.
Right.
I'm just saying. I think I would be a great wingman for him.
You would think so?
I could see that.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do now is, we obviously know they won the money, and I'm glad you asked that question because I was a little concerned about Tyler. I was like, yo, she was left out. It was kind of shady, but she still gets paid, so that's dope.
And that was cool because then it made me think a little bit more about Leighton's choices. If the person left out didn't get the money, then I was like, oh no, this is like a stab in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
But everyone gets the money, all right,
and it's all good. So let's go into, because we got the reunion next week. Let's go into predictions. Let's do that, and we can kind of figure out, talk about that. Okay, real quick. We only got a couple of minutes. I'll start with you, Kendra. What do you think is going to be in the reunion? What do you think is going to be the shocker?
Well, I think there's going to be some mad beef between Leighton and Brandon, which really isn't a shocker because we all saw that coming. Okay. But I also think it's going to be really interesting to see who's actually together and who was just faking it for TV. I can't wait for that.
Okay. Kevin, what do you think?
I say at the reunion, Brandon proposes to Christina. I'm just going to put it up there. They're so cute together, and Brandon's a sincere dude, so I'm just saying.
Okay.
I feel like you have some inside info because you guys are BFFs now.
Right.
He just texted you that.
Right. Talk about the proposal.
At 10 till 10. Yeah, no one's supposed to know.
Right. Okay, Mariou, what do you think?
I think that because Jessica and Leighton have been so hot and heavy the whole time, and she's been so like possessive of him. Right? Because maybe, you know, she like owns her man. That's cool.
Right.
I think she's going to have grown bored of him.
So you think that, are you saying that you think after the show they kind of started maybe trying to date each other and then she's just like over it?
I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I think, this is my thinking. I think that everybody that is matched up together are not going to be with each other. I think nobody that was matched up together are still going to be trying to be in a relationship. And if it is, the only people that I think would be Brandon and Christina. That would be my vote. That they would be the ones still trying to hang out.
Any couples in the show, not just their end matches?
I don't think any couples, with the exception. I think Brandon and Christina are the only ones. I'll say that. Brandon and Christina are the only ones holding strong, which they weren't even matched up. But I think the only ones going strong. I think everybody else, they're done with.
So nobody's dating anyone on the show?
I'm not going to say no one's dating anyone, but I'm just saying, okay.
Dario and Ashley look pretty happy.
They look pretty happy. But see, this is the thing. These are long distance relationships, and it's very hard to keep it up.
But there's technology.
There is technology.
There's FaceTime,
I'm just saying. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right. But that's my prediction. But I do go with the team Brandon and Christina. That's what I feel like. You know, I'm with you. Just because we talk.
Appreciate it, Lem.
He's a real good dude.
I wanted to ask him here, but I was like, let's reveal it next week.
I know. But it's going to be exciting. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our show tonight. Make sure you tune in next week. And I'm going to tell you right now, you want to tune in because we have Tyler Abram going to be our guest next week. Boom. She's going to give out all the dish on everything that went down from start to finish, everything. So you want to make sure you tune in for that last show. I've been your host, Lem Gonsalves. You can find me on social media at The Poet Saint, and that's on Twitter and Instagram. Mary Lou, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mariou Mandl.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn or on my website, itskevinjohn.com.
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those good places at Kendra Sommers. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, $1 million turn up.
Celebrate.
All right, y'all. Make sure you have a good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.